time for the Countdown Wrestling Podcast. All right, we're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an STSPod.club production. This is episode 86 of the Countdown Wrestling Podcast, formerly known as the Cool Kids Countdown, but the kids are not cool anymore. So this is episode 959 of STS Pod. I'm BT, and over there is Steve. Let me make Zaff, right? Did I get that right? Steve Zaff. Right. He's from Orlando, Florida, and Florida is the home of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. They're actually playing. Whoa! Let me see. Really, they're actually playing right now. Score is 7-5 with Pensacola winning. I just want everybody to know that. So you can get tickets for Tuesday too. They're playing a Chattanooga Lookouts on Tuesday at 6:30. Tickets today. He is one of my new partners in crime, your new friend of mine. He is Steve Zaff. And together we are the cool dudes with no attitudes of podcasting. How you doing, Steve?
Man, I'm doing good. It's fun to be on here for the first time. Let's we got a good countdown. We're going to be talking about some fun stuff. I always love talking wrestling, so
awesome. We're gonna we do a halftime show, and at halftime we're gonna let you put all your stuff over. So everybody stick around. You know how this works. We go 1 hour on the live feed. If it goes over 1 hour, you'll have to wait till it's released on the main feed. Or if you subscribe right now to Patreon, it's right on the screen. We have a special going on because we have a brand new CWA retro show that's only on Patreon, and it's $3 now. So go ahead, go over there and subscribe. Steve, you haven't been with me. This is the first time we're gonna tell the story how I found you on Craigslist, and we met in that. No, wait, forget that. This is our.
I thought we weren't talking about the bathroom visits anymore, man.
I'm sorry. My bad. This is our 8th annual episode. This is episode 959. Did I say that right? 959. Well, I want you to go to 858. That's the 7th annual. You'll hear last year's countdown. There's a pre-show if you want to hear all the picks that we did over the years. What we're going to do is I'm going to throw the top number 1 picks of all the years to Steve on Patreon, and he's going to let me know whether he thinks, well, are they breakout stars? Did they break out? Did they become big stars? Now, the breakout stars, it could be somebody on the main roster already that we just want to talk about. We think they're going to be bigger and better. Or it might be someone that's working on Evolve or comes to NXT every once in a while or on NXT. Your main thing is that you haven't main evented WrestleMania or a big pay-per-view. That's what we want to do. Who's going to do that in the future? So we're going to do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Go to commercial break and do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Starting with number 10. Let me say something real quick. Last year, my partner sent in his list, and he had 7 girls on it. I don't know how many girls you had, but you had a lot there. But we ended up with 5 girls and 5 guys, which I think that's not the hamburger place, by the way. I think that's perfect list, man, Steve. I think that's, it shows you a mix.
I think we hit it just right.
All right, tell us. Number 10 is yours. Harley
Cameron.
Cameron.
Harley Cameron. So
I think I had a stroke there for a second, Steve. So, there you go.
So I have been saying this for months. I think Harley Cameron is just a star. I don't even know if she's necessarily a star just in wrestling, but someone who has that much talent for so many different things, whether it be music or the ventriloquism, and the amount that she's progressed over just this year as far as wrestling goes, I think it cannot be overlooked. The fans, she has organically gotten over with the fans too. People actually like her. She's not just being shoved down someone's throat and making it happen. And it doesn't help that she's a little bit of a dolly too. She's quite the pretty lady.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is kind of if you put somebody on there that I would totally disagree with, I would slam you and tell you, hey, But you're right about her.
She is hot.
Yeah, she is. And the thing about it is, what she reminds me of is just, I guess, an actor or a person on, I want to say on Nickelodeon or something. You know how they have to do everything. They have to be able to act. They have to be able to sing, dance. Though you remember Nickelodeon used to have those shows where they had to do everything. What was that skit show they did? God, I can't remember the name.
I mean, it was the one with Amanda Bynes.
Right. And they did all these skits and they sang and they danced. And that's why, and I've said this a million times. Here's one thing you can't teach, and that's charisma. And she has it. She's just oozing with it, man. She is a star, and I agree 100%. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I was not a huge fan of hers until she started doing the puppet. And then I just absolutely love her.
I love the puppet, and I think and again, the puppet got over so organically, but it's also one of those things where I think if the puppet had come into play in WWE, those puppets would have been sold out already. That would have made it to WWE shop that night.
Oh, surely, yeah.
So I think that's one of those things that maybe Uncle Tony misses out on a little bit. Is
we can spend a whole 3 hours on what he misses out on.
I mean, yeah.
All right,
and that's just with him and the Jaguars.
Yeah, him and the Jaguars. Well, let's don't talk football. Jeez. Well, so who's your team? We don't know each other very well, so who's your team?
I'm a 49ers fan, actually.
Well, we're done. We're done for the night.
I grew up in the mid 80s, and Joe Montana throwing to Jerry Rice was the most fun thing to watch for a 6-year-old boy.
So I'm going to tell you my team, and you'll know why I hate the 49ers. The Dallas Cowboys. So there you go. I hate Montana. I hate the whole thing. So there we go. All right, number 9 was my pick. Here's what we did. He sent me his picks. I put my picks. I mixed them up, and we ended up with. We only agreed on 3 picks, so that'll be our top 3 picks. But number 9 is Blake Monroe. I love her. I really do. And this goes back to what I just said on number 10 there.
She is hot.
She's got everything going on. Here she started out as being the fangirl with Toni Storm. And me, I'm a huge Toni Storm fan, and I just you know where it's going most of the time with this. You have the fan or the sidekick, and the sidekick, the main heel usually whoops the sidekick, blah blah. But they totally did it different. That scene with Toni, with all the blood and all of that, but she has a personality that's going to get over huge in WWE. A lot of people talking about the name change, but it doesn't bother me. But yeah, my top, not my top girl. Was it my top girl pick? That was my top girl pick right there, was Blake Monroe. What about you?
I love Blake Monroe, the former Mariah May, if you will. I think I actually messaged you after you put that out that I was kicking myself because I forgot to put her on my list.
Right.
And I was happy that you did put her on your list because she has. This last year, she's broken out. I've heard interviews that she gives, and her interviews made me respect her even more because she's still trying to get better. No matter how good they tell her she does, she still sits down and looks at everything and goes, okay, well, who can I talk to figure out what I can do better? Who can I talk to? Who's going to tell me the right information to make sure that my last match was not my best match. My next match is my best match. Or my next promo is my best promo. Like, I love that about her, that she is that driven, that she will keep trying to improve. And I think you're right. I think she's tailor-made for the WWE. I think I think one of the things she has going for is she's also not super tiny per se. Like, she's not like 5'2". She's not, I like Alexa Bliss too, but she's not Alexa Bliss size. She's not Liv Morgan size. She's got a little bit of height to her. She has a little bit of size to her. So when she throws something like a boot or something, it looks like it could have some impact. I think if you put her standing next to a Charlotte or somebody, it's going to look aesthetically better.
I can't wait to see her on the main roster. I think she has all the potential in the world. Champion, the whole 9 yards. So, and I think she'll get over big time with the fans. I like what they've done so far in NXT with her. So I'm excited how far they go with her. All right. Number 8's yours. And go ahead and you say it. I always mess up her name.
Number 8 is Sol Ruca.
All right. Talk to me about her.
So I have been a fan of Sol Ruca since she kind of came in. I think she is super athletic. I think she is consistently, especially with the current wrestling landscape, she is the holy shit moment. A lot of times she's the move of the match, if not the move of the night. Always. That soul snatcher move is insane. I like, and the fact that she has figured out ways to kind of set it up all over. And I've been saying it for months that they were just waiting to pull the trigger on her. And they finally did with this North American title run. And I don't see a world where, if she doesn't keep doing things right, that she's another one. I could see her getting up to the main roster and her doing, I don't want to say Tiffany Stratton stuff. She's going to do stuff very differently than Tiffany Stratton, but it's going to be that same level of athleticism. I could see her maybe almost being more like a Bianca Belair, though. She doesn't quite have the bratty attitude, but she's got that athleticism.
I never thought about that. When I look at her, I see her as like Charlotte Flair. I really do.
See, I think she cuts. I think she cuts a better promo than Charlotte does.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I think that's where I'm going, is more the character aspect. She has more character than some of the women that are on the main roster right now, and she's already more of an athlete than a lot of them.
She's very athletic, and that's what I like about her. Coming out, she's going to have a really good match. Most of the time, I didn't like who was it that she did the first match, and then they did that spot from Ospreay and Ricochet, and I wasn't a huge fan of that match, but the second one that they did, I thought was out of this world, that they did a fantastic job. But it also shows you, now tell me who it was she was going against.
Was it Kelani Jordan already, or was it?
It may have been our top pick from last year, Vice.
Was it Lola Vice? It might have been Lola Vice.
Man, I can't remember. I have a horrible memory.
There's a lot of wrestling every week, man. And
yes, there is.
And my weeks get smashed together a little bit. So
the only thing with NXT, and I sometimes give them hell when they have a bad match, is because they are there with each other all the freaking time. And what does that mean? That means they can work the whole match out 3 or 4 times if they wanted to. And that first match felt too choreographed. And I don't like as much choreograph as, Lucha Libre. I always had a hard time understanding it when I first watched it. But the finishing move is awesome. And you know what? I can hear women saying, I'm not going to take that. But it seems like she hadn't had any problem because she's not hurting anybody.
No one's getting hurt with it. I feel like the person that's at most risk for getting hurt is her.
Yeah.
It's her. So I mean, if she's willing to do this move and she seems to be hitting it safe, I like honestly, I think there's more, and I don't think there's much trouble with this move either, but I think there's more danger in the Styles Clash than her move.
Yeah. You
Like
know,
there's more that can go wrong if your neck is the wrong way. That's what happened to what's his face, Yoshitatsu or whatever is.
right.
He tucked his chin when he went to take the bump instead of just taking the flat bump. This is, I don't think there's any risk from the other girl. It's all
It
her.
looks like it though. That's the thing with me, and I love that about it. I love that it's a total different finishing move. And like I said, athletic. I agree with you 100% with her. She's going to be a star. So, number 7 is mine, and it's Sean Legacy. I'm not sure a lot of people are familiar with him. He's made some appearances on NXT. I've been following him in Evolve, and also on Memphis Wrestling. He did a couple matches on Memphis Wrestling, and just thought he was really, really good. And I know I'm fixing to say something like we say here in Arkansas, and you're gonna go, come on. He reminds me of Shawn Michaels in the sense that he can almost go in there and have a good match no matter what. And he does the high flying stuff to a certain level. He doesn't do it too much, in my opinion. And also, here's something that I noticed and that I complain about when I complain about AEW is there's no psychology. People say, well, it's when you watch WWE, it's WWE psychology. Well, that's the psychology I was taught. That's the psychology that I helped. You know, I had 2 tag teams in this area, and I was the manager, and I always taught that, you know, shine, heat, hot tag, that same old thing. Sean can do all the high flying moves and everything, but there's a match, and I mentioned it. There's a match on Memphis television. You need to watch it. All the psychology is there. He is real good at it. The very first match on the first episode of Evolve was him. Also, go out of your way. It's very free on Tubi. Some of the matches aren't that good, but you see a lot of young talent. But he shined for me. He really did. He really shines for me.
I'm not gonna lie, I am not as familiar with Sean Legacy. I know he has been making waves with NXT and Evolve lately and doing a lot of good stuff with that. And if you're gonna give him a sterling recommendation like Shawn Michaels, I gotta watch him a little bit closer now. But also, I'm a big fan of young guys that are willing to that lean into psychology. Um, I've talked to a couple younger wrestlers. I say younger because I'm 43 and everyone's younger than me that's coming up in the world now. So it's if you're in your late 20s, you're a younger wrestler to me. If you're in your early 30s, you're a younger wrestler to me still. But like they're on the indies, and some of them are actually getting the psychology aspect of it. And I love it. Like, hey, I don't need to do something a million times. I need to do it once and it'll work. And if it works, I'll do it maybe the next match, or I don't have to do it every single match. I love that aspect of things. I love that, like you said, I think I've seen him. Obviously, he's got a look. He's a good looking kid. He's got an athletic look about him. We're in a world now where that athletic look really, really transcends things a little bit too. So that'll definitely help him out. Being a good looking guy in the wrestling business doesn't hurt you nowadays.
Not at all. And I hope he just don't get stuck in that Cedric Alexander role where Cedric was so good, but just really wasn't able to get over the hump kind of thing. And I hate that about him. And Sean also has apparently I've talked to all my friends there at Memphis Wrestling. And here's what I really like, Steve. He's a really nice guy. And I love that about him. That's one of the things I like about when you talk to the guys backstage and they say, yeah, man, he's a really nice guy. He's willing to do anything. And that tells you why he's WWE ID. That tells you why he's on Evolve. That tells you why he went to NXT. He's willing to do anything to get himself over. All right, number 6 is yours. And go ahead. I'll let you tell them who it is.
So that is Megan Bayne. So we have not. I've seen a little bit more of Megan Bain just because of watching some of her stuff after becoming aware of who she was. I'm from New Jersey originally. I have actually worked out and trained with Joey Janela, and that is kind of how I came to notice Megan Bain, is through my loose connection to Joey Janela a little bit. Now, with that said, Megan Bain is a star. She has a look, she has size, she is different than most of the other girls on either roster. And the fact that she is different than most of the other girls on either roster is going to help her out the best. I think I think this is the first time, and it might be her control over the character, that AEW has brought in the monster female and they're letting her do it right for the most part. The fact that she doesn't really talk, she is doing the China route, where I think they've tried to do it in other senses and it doesn't play out the right way. With her, it seems like it's going the right way. I would like her to, I don't know if tone down some of her gimmick as far as like the headdress and everything is the right word, or now that she's working for a billionaire, have someone that works in costuming really, really, really like fine tune it. So it's, I don't know. There's it looks still a little bit too costumey to me, where I think
see
if
that. I see what you're saying. It does
where
look.
I think if they brought it grounded it a little bit more, because even I could compare it to like Cody stuff. Cody's gear, if you comparatively between the two shows, if you look, it got a little bit more grounded in the last year or so, and it looks a little better now. And I think that's what I want for her, is specifically like the headpieces that she wears and stuff like that. I think if she got that a little bit more grounded, I think the initial look on her would look a little bit better. But again, I'm nitpicking at that point because everything else she does is pretty good. She's good in the ring. She has a good look. When she passes like the airport test, where like if you looked at her in the airport, I'm sure you're like, oh, it's probably an athlete of some sort. She looks like an athlete. She looks like she can do some damage in that ring.
I agree, and I guess what you said about Sean Legacy is what I could say about Megan. I haven't seen a lot of her because I don't watch. I quit watching AEW weekly when Punk left, and then have not watched the complete pay per view. I think since Sting's retirement. So but I did take a moment to go looking through her stuff. And the one thing that came out to me, I actually loved the headdress. I think I know it is flashy. I understand what you're saying, but I actually love that part of it. But is that to me, she looks so much bigger than everybody else. And I
Exactly.
went and looked at her height, and if it's legit, she's 5'11", which is not tall. I'm 5'11", not a tall guy. But that's a tall girl. If you look at
That's the tall girl. That's you're sitting in the Charlotte Flair range. You're sitting in the
Jade, yeah,
Yeah, you're sitting in Jade. I think she's actually taller than Jade at that point.
maybe.
Jade, I think, is listed at like 5'8" or 5'9" or something like that. You're actually sitting in the. I'm trying to think of a taller. You're sitting in like the Camille range.
Well, they tried this role with Camille, and it
And
didn't work.
and I think it was how they were feeding it to Camille. That's what I mean, is I think this is working. So when I say I don't like the headdress, I mean it's actually just, I think it's ill-fitting sometimes. And I think that's what gets me.
I
That's
see
why
what you're saying. Yeah,
I think that's where it takes me out of it a little bit. And again, it's one of those things I look at, hey, are you messing with your gear all the time? Then maybe your gear should fit better. Are you doing it like, because if you were in a fight, you're not going to sit there and like make sure your shoe is still on.
I used to be able to. Are you still with me? Oh, we lost Steve. We are Steve, fixing to go to a commercial break here in just a moment. We did lose him, though. How's everybody doing here on the stream? On the stream, you can't do anything. This will be cut out of the original. Don't you love it? Don't you love technology? It'll be cut out of the main feed, so you won't have to. He's telling me his power went off. And we're going to wait around. We're just going to talk. You know, the thing about it is, with being able to he's got his power went off, he's rebooting everything, he'll be back. And we'll go to a commercial break when he gets back, and then we'll talk. Actually, I'll tell you what. No, we'll do that. It'll be easier for me to edit. And then be able to finish this up. I was really excited about recording with Steve, and we talked to Mr. Z earlier in the month. Two guys joining the podcast network, I guess you will see, stspod.club. I think with the new blood, we went from having 3 people on the staff here to getting rid of somebody and having 5 people on the staff. And we're able to, if Steve's busy and cannot record, then we can grab Mr. Z and have him, pitch in. By the way, this is just going to be for the Patreon and this live feed going on. But we'll be able to, get different opinions, jump in with different people, doing different things. Gene and I will do WTF, and we will also be doing the CWA show just on Patreon. Guys, you can join Patreon now for $3. $3. That's right. If you are a Patreon member, I can hook you up on the rest of the year or something. Message me. We also will be doing WTF that. There's a lot of stuff going on in the retro feed. There's stuff coming up every week now. Since I'm providing retro feed stuff, was it really that good? I'm actually putting it on our main feed of the podcast, just a flashback episode. A lot of people do that. I don't want to put more than one a week. I see other podcasts do more than one. And then we got Steve back. Steve, can you hear me?
Back.
All right, that's cool, man. I just sat and talked. I talked about. It's all right, man. It happens. It's technology, and it's also the power. So, hey, I need you to before we record next time. I need you to make sure you have paid your electricity bill. Okay, come on.
I live in what's known as the country.
Yes.
So when it starts to thunderstorm, I lose the world.
I lived in a very small town in Missouri most of my life, and if the wind blew, the electricity went out. Let's go to commercial break. When we come back, folks, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wrestling fans, are you ready? Every Friday night in Osceola, Arkansas, MCW, the legacy continues. Live, hard-hitting, family-friendly wrestling action every Friday night at the MCW Arena, located at 1098 West Kaiser. Doors open at 6:30, and the action starts at 8 p.m. sharp. Don't miss your chance to see the stars of MCW battle out in the ring, rivals, drama, and slam-packed action. Following wrestling superstars are appearing Chase McCoy, C Money, LA Hustlers, Party Factor, Zaya Wolf, DJ Cash, JT Williams, Galen Ray, Serpent, 187, Luke, Justice, and many, many more. Here's what I want you to do. If you have any questions, I want you to search Facebook for Osceola's Mid-Southern Championship Wrestling. All ticket information, how to get your ticket, what time the show starts, everything right there on Facebook. All tickets are on sale right now. Be there!
Don't miss Memphis Wrestling Live! Next Sunday, June 29th, James Ellsworth returns. Plus, the return of Shark Boy! Saturday, July 12th, don't miss Luchador Wrestling Night with the Arkansas Travelers in Little Rock, featuring former WWE United States Champion Kalisto. July 17th and 18th, Memphis Wrestling Kids Camp returns, powered by Lenny Subs. Registration is now open. Sunday, July 20th, don't miss Gilbert. Don't miss your chance to meet WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
All right, we're back, and it's time for halftime. All right. That just breaks off just real quick.
Just cut off. I was in mid-groove.
I know. So we're going to spend halftime here. You're not familiar with halftime, but we do a segment on all the countdown shows, all the WTF shows, when I don't forget. And then I put all those halftime segments together, and we put them out during the halftime show of the Super Bowl. So we're going to do that for the third time. I guess it's next year, but this one will go on there. So what I want to do is kind of give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. I do want everyone to know I'm going to bring you on. We're going to do one of the flagship shows, Shooting the Shiznit. We're going to sit down one-on-one and talk about your fandom and all that kind of stuff. But just put over your stuff where we actually, here's the real story of how we met, is that there is a podcast. Is it called Podcasters on Facebook or something like that?
Something that effect,
yeah. It's a group, and I just put in, look, we did some staff changes here. I was really looking for, 2-3 extra people so that I didn't have to rely on just one person to record with. I got somebody to do my WTF. And then we got somebody else to join to do some New Japan stuff with me. And then you were one of the few people that, there was a lot of people said, hey, and I went and looked at people's stuff, and you seem to know what you were talking about. I liked you and your co-host, and I was like, hey, I'm going to reach back out to him. So tell us about your podcast, how long you've been doing it, and how everyone can reach it.
So I am the host, owner, producer, El Presidente of I Still Call It a Lariat. We are a pro wrestling podcast. We are the mediumest pro wrestling podcast on the planet. We sit right in the middle. We're not the best. We're not the worst. We give great analysis and semi-good production value.
There you go.
In order to find us, we are on pretty much every major streaming platform. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the big ones. Our biggest one right now is YouTube. We actually just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so that's a big one for us. We've been going for about a year. I am joined by my co-host pretty regularly, Mr. Showtime Michael Wright. He is also my former tag team partner and best friend for life. And then we have recently been joined by Slim Burgundy, who was also a manager that I worked with throughout my years of wrestling. And there's been a sprinkle of other co-hosts in there. Our buddy Hound has jumped in there. He's a former worker. And our casual fan that started off with us was S. Scarps Esquire. He's he might make a comeback eventually. We don't know. He's all. We might change his name from Escarps Esquire to Sir Flakes a lot. It's kind of the same thing. So, but we have a lot of fun. We've scaled back for the next couple of weeks, just kind of doing preview and review shows of the PLEs, pay-per-views, and big shows like that. We're not doing as much on the weekly shows. Slim and I are going to review the Arena Mexico shows for AEW just because we kind of want to see that type, or we want to talk about that type of stuff. But all around, we try to do it for fun. I've been involved with wrestling. Well, I'm 43 years old, so I'll say I've been involved with wrestling in some way, shape, or form, whether it be a fan or a worker, for 42 years now. My earliest memory is sitting on my dad's lap watching Hogan, and fell in love with it. Went to WrestleMania 4 when Macho won the title for the first time. So that is me in a nutshell, and our show in a nutshell. We, like I said, we like to have fun. We like to talk wrestling, and Lord knows there's a lot of wrestling out there nowadays.
Man, like you said, there's a lot of wrestling going on, and when I bring you on, we'll talk about you being in the business and a fan and everything. And I just want to point out something. I really think, and you said something about somebody as part of your crew, a casual fan, which is fine. I get it. No one that's ever been in the business, I love, but I really think we have people that's been in the business has a different perspective of what's going on. And I'm not saying this to make anyone mad or piss any of my listeners off, but I think we have an understanding of what goes on, not just on the television, but also what goes on backstage. And also the understanding that most of us that have been in the business and doing podcasts now, also we're open to learn new stuff. We're open to new opinions because we've been taught you can't learn everything in pro wrestling. And it's one of those things we talked about, the style and the psychology and everything. And I've mentioned this many times on this show, but Tanahashi had, when he came out with his book, he said it doesn't have to do with just the moves. It's what you do in between.
Exactly.
And I was just like, I mean, I've been around the wrestling business since taking pictures since 87 or 88. So, but I learned something. I've learned something working with Memphis Wrestling or for Memphis Wrestling, which way you want to say with that. And, you keep learning. And I think that keeps us open. You see people on the internet wrestling community that thinks they know it all and they're not going to listen to anyone else. And I think that hurts that hurts and gives the internet wrestling community a bad name. And then when you have a podcast like yours, ours, people that, I'm sorry, I kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to be egotistical or anything, but they have to search for us. They have to wade through all the other bad podcasts to find us.
And so the funny thing is part of the reason why we initially started with, we had all three of us were on the show to start with. It was myself, it was Michael Wright, and it was Scarps. And it was three different levels of fandom, basically. So it was me, who had been involved in the business the deepest. It was Showtime, who had been involved in the business for a little while, but he's the super fan, basically, at this point. He's the guy who he's in deep. And then having Scarps there as the casual fan, let's face it, that's who you're really trying to gear your product to a lot of times. So if I was going off on a rant about something that I really didn't like, I would look at him sometimes. I'm like, wait, did you like it? Because if you liked it, everything that I just said is wrong. So that's to your point. Yeah, I was able to learn things at that point. Sometimes, I get a little bit caught up in my own old school thought process on things. But if the casual fan likes what's going on, then I'm just a jaded old man, and I understand that sometimes that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's with me. I hang when my guy that does WTF with me, Gene Jackson. We also do. I pinch hit, and it's a retro USWA show. They just got done with 1993 which I was busy in life and wasn't watching it. Being in Memphis area, I watched wrestling every Saturday on Memphis with Memphis Wrestling on WMC Channel 5. And but he doesn't watch the current product. He watches it, if someone says, "Hey, go watch the John Cena interview or go watch this match," he doesn't watch. But he doesn't hate it. He just doesn't like, in the sense that he's not going to watch something he doesn't like. Me, for the last, I got back into watching WWE, I guess, for the last 5 or 6 years. One reason, you got to have something to talk about on your podcast sometimes. But another reason is just I'm really enjoying it. I'm a huge fan of Roman Reigns and that, over and over and over. And just enjoy WWE and was big. I went to All In. I was there. I was a big fan of AEW. I've told this story before. I've used to never pay for pay-per-views. Someone would send it to me on VHS. And then that was probably some of the first pay-per-views. I pitched in $5 at a party one time. But that was for food and the pay-per-view. But
Yeah.
I started buying pay-per-views. I spent probably $250 on pay-per-views with AEW. But, here's the deal. I don't like AEW that much right now. I do watch some of the stuff, but I'm not going to complain about it. Sometimes I will, but I don't. You mentioned something about Arena Mexico and what you're going to be doing. By the way, I just wanted to make a mention. That's on my bucket list. So anyone wants to fund me to go to Arena Mexico, I'm ready. If you want to fund me, and I'll do all kinds of material on that. All right, guys, that was halftime. That was halftime, and then we're gonna. What's up? You ready?
Oh, you said halftime. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, you ready? Here we go. All right, that was halftime. We're going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 at 5. This was my pick. Ricky Saints, Ricky Starks, whoever, whatever you want to call him. And I know people, some of these in this 5, they're going to, probably 4 out of 5. He's already a star, is what someone's going to say. He's not a breakout star. To me, Ricky Saints is right there. And when he goes to the main roster, that's when he's going to be the huge star. He can do it on the microphone. He's a solid wrestler, but he's got something that we talked about earlier. He's got charisma, baby, and he's got lots of charisma. It's just oozing out of him, and he is a star. So if you don't see that, I don't think he's a huge star right now, but in a few years, we're going to go back and look at this breakout stars, and he's on the list.
So I see where you're going with this. I'm part of the contingent that thought he was a star already. That's why I didn't include him in my breakout star. I think it's also a matter of he shouldn't be on this list. Let's put it that way. He should have had his breakout already. He should have been when MJF was the champ. That should have been the year that we had him as a breakout star. Realistically, because when he cut that promo with MJF before they had their match, that should have been the start, and then he should have gotten the rocket pack put on him and shot to the moon right then and there. And unfortunately, they did not do that the right way. And that's neither here nor there. That's, those are growing pains, unfortunately. I'm not here to bash AEW. I'm here to talk about the breakout stars, but that's the problem is Ricky Starks should have already been well past this list.
I get what you're saying. I put Jordan Grace on her list last year. I felt like she was a star in TNA, but I felt like the breakout was, and she's doing it with NXT, the breakout was that she was going to me, going to WWE is the big time. And it is the show. If you make it on the main roster and become a star, you're going to be a star. I mean, some of the mid-level people are still, for years that were on television, they're still being able to sign autographs and all that because they were on WWE. But I can't wait till they put him on the main roster and see what they can do with him. He's a guy that to me has enough can talk so good that if something did happen to him, no, let's knock on wood that it doesn't. But he could sit and do commentary. He did that on AEW. He was entertaining. I liked him. Some people didn't, but he's got a huge future in the business. I'm excited to see what they do with him. All right, number 4 was one of your girls.
So this is Jada Parker from NXT. I think Jada Parker is one match away. She's already a star, but I think she's like one match away from the stardom. Like, she should be the top of the NXT women's division right now, as far as I'm concerned. I think she's the next person that should really get pushed up there, other than our number 9, which was Blake Monroe, the former Mariah May. I think those two could have some crazy chemistry if it worked out the right way. But Jada Parker was with the OTM tag team, and she was the only one that came out the other side. I mean, I know they're back now, and I guess there was an injury or something like that, but she was the one that came out the other side the better. Now they don't associate her with them. They associate Jada Parker as Jada Parker. Jada Parker is Jada Parker. Like, you talk about her, you don't talk about OTM's manager, Jada Parker. You talk about, she kind of hung out with them for a little bit. And then she had that she had the feud with your number 1 last year, Lola Vice, which I think that super propelled her. And I think she just gets it. She's one of those ones that came from that Division 1 or the NIL deals and gets it. And that's a big deal. She understands the psychology. She understands the showmanship, while also being a huge athlete.
I agree. This is just to make a real quick note on this. Saints was my number 1 pick that wasn't the picks that we picked together. And Jada Parker was your number 1 pick that we didn't pick together. She's got everything. I just see her still a little green on some things. And I know she's hadn't been in the business, but she does get it. And she understands what she needs to do in a match to get over. And that's kind of hard to teach sometimes. Her interview skills, she can improve on that, but I like her. Not somebody I picked, but I can see why you pick her. And I see why, Booker T's huge on her. He thinks she's a huge talent and she could go anywhere. I see her she's a little different than the other girls on the roster.
That's the other thing. I like different sometimes.
Yeah. All right. We got the top 3 picks coming up, and we agreed on these. So this was BT, that's me, number 3. Steve had him at number 4, and it's Obi Femi. I can't never say his name. Go ahead. You can say it.
Obafemi.
There you go. I did. I said it right. Obi Femi. All right. So tell me, what do you like about him?
I mean, aside from the fact that he's M'Baku from the MCU, he is literally M'Baku from Black Panther.
He is. Yeah, I never thought about that.
I love Obafemi. I think he's a specimen. I think he's a giant. I think he's improving too. That's the scary part, is he's not just resting on his laurels, and he's not just settling into this role. Like, yeah, he is the NXT champion, but I'm surprised he's even holding that title that long, because I don't think it's gonna be much longer before he's called up to the main roster himself. If he's still down in NXT until WrestleMania next year, I'll be shocked, because he is everything you want. And if you look, as my biggest critique of him in the beginning was his promo skills, and he is improved in leaps and bounds over the last few months. And I think this is a situation where getting that NXT title has made him extra comfortable. And I don't want to say that the title is making the man, because he's definitely making the title. But I think getting that title was affirmation enough for him to be like, okay, I'm the guy. I know I'm the guy. Now I just need to show that I'm still the guy every week.
We have a longtime Patreon member. He's been listening to the podcast for a long time. Last year we did this Breakout Stars, and he said you missed somebody, and this is the guy you missed last year. Braino Lasto, shout out to Braino Lasto. But he said you missed him, and I wasn't a big fan of his. He just looked like a big muscle guy, and didn't see what everyone else was seeing in him, especially the WWE staff. And about 6 months ago, I'm sitting here watching, and I can't even tell you which one it is, the pay-per-view, and his music started, and the whole the way he walked out, and we talk about people oozing with charisma. This guy he's huge, and he's having some just great matches where you think he shouldn't be this good, kind of thing. I love the stuff he did with Trick. I love the stuff he did with Bourne. That match with Miles Bourne, to me, was just it made Miles Bourne. It really did, and that
very, very good.
Very good. It's one of those old school things we talk about, but it's not how good you are in the ring. It's how good you look. You make your opponent look. And that's what happened with that Miles Bourne match. And I was just like, yeah, he's going to be really high on my Breakout Stars this year. But yeah, he's a star. He's a main roster star. This guy goes to the main roster. And I'm an old school fan, just like you. He could have fit in any timeline. Can you imagine?
Honestly, and I mean, you're a little closer to that area than I am. And from growing up, Obafemi has the potential to be this generation's Junkyard Dog.
I knew you was going to say that. I felt that too.
You like, between the attitude, the look, the size, just everything. He's that Mid-South version of Junkyard Dog too. The real JYD, not the WWF version that most of us grew up under, like, seeing. He's that early 80s JYD when he was trimmed up and was having all the fights with the UWF guys and stuff like that. Like, that guy.
Reminds me of Butch Reed too.
He does. He's got some Butch Reed in him. You could say Ron Simmons. He's got all those guys in him. Yeah, I agree. I think he would be a star in any era. And realistically, I'll throw him with, I'm looking at your 2022 breakout stars, Obafemi, Braun Breaker, and Jacob Fatu.
Oh, wow. Man, you put him in some good company there.
Like,
so, yeah.
I think those three guys, I wouldn't be surprised if when Obafemi, because he's another young guy too, Obafemi gets up to that main roster, I wouldn't be surprised if you're looking at those three guys as kind of being your new Seth, Roman, and Cody, even. Like, those three guys. Like, you're looking at those three type of guys.
Yeah, I could see him walk out with Heyman.
Yeah, or if you want to go a little old school, a little bit older school, Oba, Braun, and Jacob are going to be Rock, Austin, Triple H.
I'm a huge Jacob Fatu fan. We put him on the list. I was the one that was huge into him.
I love Jacob Fatu.
I love all the stuff he's added to it. He's so good on the microphone. All right, number 2, BT's number 4, Steve's number 1, and I'm going to tell you this is one of our 2 top people are going to say they're already stars, but Joe Hendry is number 2 on the list. Why was he your number 1?
I believe. Because I believe. No, Joe Hendry's my number 1 because I look at it as, so it's not so much that he's not already a star, but 2024 was him breaking out into the star that he is now in 2025. His breakout is because of 2024, but he wasn't a star at the beginning of 2024. So this is the year that he is showing the star that he is. He got over. I'm a big believer that Joe Hendry was not the plan. Joe Hendry was not the plan for TNA. He was not. He
I
was.
agree.
He was a popular. He was a guy that was entertaining. He is a guy that is entertaining. And then the Music Shark stuff happened, and he got over with people that weren't even wrestling fans. People who didn't know what wrestling, didn't know a thing about wrestling, knew who Joe Hendry was and knew his song. I am a big believer that Joe Hendry wasn't supposed to be the guy that took the title off of Moose. I think it was supposed to be someone else. And they had to change those plans because Joe Hendry got over so big. And by the end of the year, Joe Hendry was a star. And now this year he is a star, but we have to acknowledge
But next year, yeah, within the next time we sit down to do the breakout stars,
he won't be a breakout. He'll be a big star.
We'll say, hey, we picked him number 2. Right. I get you. I get what you're saying. I felt the same way too. Loved his appearance at WrestleMania, where there's a lot of people said, "Oh, he just jobbed out." I don't think anyone that said that understands the wrestling business. But if someone called me and
that at all,
no, I know you don't, Steve. If you called me and said you wanted me to, and the thing about it is the whole deal with Randy Orton is he picked Joe Hendry. He wanted Joe Hendry, and he got over big time at WrestleMania. And I think the plan, there's something going on when they took the title off of him, but it had nothing to do with WrestleMania. Everyone said, "Oh, I guess they took it off of him because he jobbed out." No, losing does not mean you're a jobber. I'm sorry, it does not.
No.
But I'm with you too. I think at this time next year, when we're doing our new list, Joe's going to be a huge star in the WWE on the main roster, and will be either on Raw or SmackDown every week. I agree. 100% believe that. All right, so our number 1 pick, and I'm going to tell you what, we had a technical difficulty right in the middle of right before we went to commercial. And you know what, Steve? I'm happy that we did, because we're going to tease. You are going to have to go. I told you we don't go but for a whole hour. So you're going to have to go to the main feed, or you can go on to the main feed on stspod.club to hear the audio version. I will stream it to Rumble, the edited version, so you can see what the number 1 is. But you go to the audio version, or you go to the Rumble version, the live feed on Rumble, and you'll get to see what number 1 is. But we're closing up on 1 hour. So, hey, Steve, thank you. Live feed is fixing to end. Stick with me now.